Hi everyone, Luke Wimberly here, Wimberly Taxidermy, out in Quitman, Mississippi. I've decided to add some videos to my Facebook page this year and show you how different processes are done to bring your animal back to life. Not necessarily will be the whole process of any animal, but it will be the process of various animals and various things that we do. So some of the ways that I do it, everything is subjective, and there's always more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. So no pun intended there. But we'll get right to it here. Today I have an alligator, and alligator season closed about 2 months ago, and I've taken in a couple gator heads, and now I've got to get them skin out, get them mounted, get them back to life, and get them back to the customer. So I'm a one-man band here. I'll be setting this phone up and demonstrating how some things are done. And today I'm going to actually cast the pallet of a real gator's mouth. First thing is I do have his mouth so they're open and closed. The gator is as fresh as one can get, I guess, other than coming right out of the lake. But if you look at the palate of his mouth here, you'll see the different textures and the different contours of the palate of the mouth. This palate has to come out of this mouth. Some taxidermists may disagree. They may argue you down on that, but as far as the way I'm concerned and the way that it's got to be done correctly, this palate has to come out. So I got to cut all this out. It's got to be destroyed, and when I get done, the actual palate of the mouth will be very jagged and not be very appealing to the eye or the customer. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cast this using some artificial materials, and we're going to capture all the contours, all the textures, and everything except for the color. And I'll go back and paint it and everything once it's back in the gator and dry. I'm going to use alginate, like I said earlier, and this is alginate here. It is a pink powdery substance. I'll mix it with some water, put it all over the gator's mouth, and then it'll pill up. And alginate is typically used for a one-time casting deal. Alright, here's your alginate here. Very ooey gooey. Sets up pretty quick. Probably going to have to add 2 or 3 coats of this stuff. And I know it looks funny. It looks like I may be ruining the gator or something of that nature, getting it all over him, but this stuff peels off really easily. And it lays down really easily. It does a good job of capturing the actual contours. When I got the alginate spread onto the gator's mouth, and you see it makes quite a mess, and I'll try to get it up here so you can actually look at what I've done here. But I've cast all the way into the back of his throat and all the way down. I captured his teeth and everything, all the way down to the front of his nose and all the way around. He's captured. So we're going to let this sit up for it'll probably take about 10-15 minutes to really sit up, and I'll ease the mold out of here, and we'll go from there, and I'll show you what we're going to do from that point. We're going to try to pick this up in one piece off of this gator's mouth without tearing anything. I do have my son in here with me, so he's going to be yakking back and forth. Alright. Now, this is the piece we've cast here. Get back where you can see that. That's the piece there. What I'm actually going to do now, I'm actually going to lay this back in here, just like it was. It'll fit. And I'm going to coat the top of this with a coat of plaster of Paris. What the plaster of Paris does is creates a bowl or a surface for the alginate to sit in, and it doesn't allow the alginate to flex or bow, because if it flexes and bows during the next process, then it's going to make the pallet either bigger or smaller than it actually was, and that's not what we want. we actually want the alginate to capture the exact size of the palate of the mouth. So I'm going to flip this out and actually try to pick this up just like so. Move everything else out of the way. We're going to flip this over, and now because it's in plaster of Paris, this can't rock. Well, it rocks a little bit. I can prop it up or wedge it up or whatever needs to be done, but it can't. The alginate actually cannot bow from this bowl. It'll actually come out of here just like so and have a place to sit back down so that this stays the same. Otherwise, it would bow and flex and create a different size pallet than what I need or what I want. Okay, what we got going on now, I got the alginate out in the bowl of plaster here. All of this right here along here is his teeth. That's not what I really want to capture, and this is what I'm wanting to capture, and not the edges of his teeth here. So I've added some Bondo in the back here, and I've added some Bondo here so that the next process doesn't leak out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill all this in with plaster, and I'm going to fill this in with plaster all around here, all the way around, to create a bowl so that I can capture this and try to get the palate out of this gator's mouth in one piece. Okay, I got my plaster of Paris set. You can see I kind of created a bowl here all the way around. I used his teeth to do that, where I had cast his teeth all the way around. Kind of creates a bowl. And now I'm going to take a Bondo and fiberglass mix and pour over in here. Because remember, we're not after the teeth, we're after an actual palate of the mouth. That's what we want. We want the detail, we want the contours, the curvatures, everything to do with that palate. That's what we want. We're not worried about the teeth are staying in the gator. So I'm going to mix me up a Bondo fiberglass resin mix, pour it over in here. I'm probably going to have to make several pours, and I'll let you see me do that, and we'll go from there. Now we got Bondo here. It's regular good old-fashioned reach in the bucket, get Bondo. It's very thick, and being seasoned, hadn't been around for a while. I ain't been using my Bondo, so it's kind of dried out, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter. You can take some regular good old-fashioned fiberglass resin and mix it with your Bondo in a cup, and it will actually make a liquid type Bondo, which is what I want to pour in here, and it can go down and capture everything that I want it to capture. When doing this, use your Bondo hardener. Don't use fiberglass hardener. And you see, this is very liquid-like. It'll self-level when it's this. When you got it this runny, it will self-level. I'm gonna try to stay out of the way of the camera so that you can see exactly what it is I'm doing. This is a very lengthy process, but in the end, it's well worth it. We'll make another pour. I'll show you what we got here. We're gonna let this set up, and then I'll make another pour on top of this to bring it up a little bit, make it a little bit thicker. It's not as thick as I would like, but I'm gonna let this set up, make another pour. Once I make that pour, I'll come back, we'll see what we got, and we'll pull it out.